Arre, have you ever stood by an old well in the middle of the night when the village is asleep, when the dogs stop barking, when the crickets go silent, when even the wind holds its breath and refuses to move, when the moon hides behind thick clouds and the only light is the faint glow from a dying lantern, and heard a faint voice calling your name from the bottom, not loud, not angry, not even sad, just a soft, desperate beta. Help me. That was the first time little Rohan heard it in the summer of 1998 in a forgotten corner of Bihar near a village called Madhopur, where the old brick well stood like a silent guardian, or a hungry mouth waiting patiently for the next soul to fall into its darkness. The well was ancient, built during the British time. No one knew who dug it. No one knew why it was so deep. No one knew why the water never reflected the sky. No one knew why the bricks were stained red in places. But everyone knew the stories. जो भी इसमें गिरता है कभी नहीं लौटता. जो भी इसमें झांकता है उसकी रूह को खींच लेती है. वो औरत जो 1947 में अपने पति के धोखे से परेशान होकर कुएं में कूद गई थी और अब हर बच्चे को ले जाती है. हर रात को जब गाउन सोता है वो अपनी चीख से गाउन को जगाती है, लेकिन कोई सुनता नहीं, कोई मदद नहीं करता, क्योंकि सब डरते हैं. सब जानते हैं कि वो औरत अकेली नहीं है. उसके साथ उसका पति भी है जो उसे धोखा दिया था, जो अब उसके साथ कुएं में रहता है, दोनों साथ में नए शिकार की तलाश में. Rohan Shankar Prasad, born 15 June 1986, under a full moon that bathed the entire Madhopur in silver light, to a school teacher, Father Shankar Prasad, who died of tuberculosis when Rohan was only 6, leaving behind a steel almirah full of books, a pair of spectacles, a compass that Rohan kept under his pillow every night, a small diary where he wrote his dreams, and a mother, Suman Devi, who stitched uniforms for the entire primary school to keep the chulha burning, who never let anyone see her cry, who stitched 40 uniforms every day, who ate only one roti so Rohan could have two, who slept on the floor so Rohan could have the charpoy, who smiled even when her fingers bled from the needle, but whose eyes were always red from crying into the pillow at night, whose hands trembled when she counted the paisa, whose back ached from bending over the sewing machine, whose heart broke every time she saw Rohan barefoot, but never complained, never asked for anything, never said a word about her pain. Rohan was small, barely 4 feet at age 12, but his eyes were huge, black, always sparkling with mischief. His front tooth was chipped from the time he tried to bite open a coconut with his teeth because he wanted to surprise Suman with fresh coconut water on her birthday. His hair was never combed, always sticking up like a baby crow, because he said combing is for city boys, and he was a gaun ka shur, and he had this habit of whistling old Lata songs while walking barefoot on the hot kucha roads. Ajeeb Dastan. Hai ye, he would whistle even when the sun burned his soles red, even when the thorns pierced his feet, even when the village boys laughed at him, even when the headmaster scolded him. He knew every corner of Madhopur, every secret, the banyan tree where the village boys hid their cigarettes, the abandoned British bungalow where they played Ghost Goes, the mango orchard where he once tied a fake snake to scare the watchman and got chased for 2 kilometers, laughing so hard he fell into the irrigation canal and came home dripping wet with a grin wider than the Ganga, the pond where he caught fish with his bare hands, the temple where he rang the bell every morning, the school where he drew pictures on the blackboard when the teacher was not looking. Rohan, Nani Kaushalya Devi, was his world. She lived in the mud house with the blue door, the one with the tulsi plant in the courtyard, the one where the smell of agarbati never left the air, the one where the walls were painted with stories every evening. Rohan would sit on her charpoy eating gur with roasted peanuts while Nani told him stories. रोहन बेटा उस कुएं के पास मत जाना, वहाँ एक औरत का भूत रहता है. हटे 1947 में उसका पति ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर था, उसने उसे धोखा दिया. उसने कहा मैं तुम्हें इंग्लैंड ले जाऊंगा, लेकिन उसने दूसरी औरत से शादी कर ली. वो औरत परेशान होकर कुएं में कूद गई. उसकी लाश भी नहीं मिली. अब वो हर बच्चे को ले जाती है जो रात को वेल के पास जाता है. उसकी चीख सुनाई देती है, उसकी रूह को खींच लेती है. वो औरत अकेली नहीं है. उसके साथ उसका पति भी है, जो अब उसके साथ कुएं में रहता है। दोनों साथ में नए शिकार की तालिश में। रोहन would widen his eyes, pretend to be scared, then burst out laughing. ननी आप भी? ना भूत वूत सिर्फ फिल्मों में होते हैं। लेकिन नानी वुड होल्ड हिज हैंड टाइट एंड से, बेटा सच है, मैंने खुद सुना है। उस औरत की चीख रात को मैंने खुद देखा है, उसकी लाल सरी पानी में तैरती हुई। बट सीक्रेटली रोहान वॉज obsessed. He collected every ghost story, every whisper. He once stole a Bhoot Pret Ki Sachi Kahani and book from the school library, hid it under his pillow, and read it with a candle at night until the wax dripped on his hand and he yelped. Waking up half the mohalla, he would draw pictures of ghosts with charcoal on the mud walls of his house. Big eyes, long hair, red sari, floating over wells. He would tell Chotu the chai wala, son, जो भी वेल में गिरता है उसका सुपरमैन टी शर्ट भी नहीं बचता. छोटू would laugh and say, रोहन तू पगल है. लेकिन रोहन would reply नहीं. मैं हीरो हूँ, मैं एक दिन वेल में जाऊंगा और भूत को पकड़ के लाऊंगा. मैं उससे पूछूंगा कि वो क्यों इतना गुस्सा है. मैं उससे बताऊंगा कि धोखा देना गलत है. Rohan best friend was Chotu. They had a pact, जो भी डरेगा वो dosa खिलाएगा. They dared each other everything. Jumping from the school roof into hay, swimming across the flooded khadan, stealing guavas from the headmaster orchard, tying a rope to the buffalo and riding it like a horse, and finally the ultimate dare, रात को well के अंदर जाएगा. Rohan mother Suman was always tired, always stitching, always worried. रोहन पढ़ाई कर इंजीनियर बन गया छोड़, लेकिन रोहन hated books, loved machines. He could fix any cycle, any radio, any broken toy with just a wire and a nail. He once fixed the village generator with a safety pin and became the hero of the day. The entire gown gave him laddus. He dreamed of building a drone one day. मैं उड़ूंगा sky में like a garud. मैं अपनी माँ को उड़ाऊंगा, मैं अपनी ननी को उड़ाऊंगा, मैं अपने गाउन को उड़ाऊंगा. When Priyanka came that summer, everything changed. Priyanka, his city cousin, with her Reebok shoes, her Sony Walkman, her attitude gown में बोर हो जाऊंगी. Rohan saw his chance बोर चल आज रात को. Well, challenge. Priyanka was 14, city girl, always listening to Kumar Sanu, always talking about Mumbai, always saying gaon mein kuch nahi hota. Rohan wanted to prove her wrong. He wanted to be the hero. He wanted Suman to be proud. He wanted to show the village that Rohan Shankar Prasad is not afraid of anything. He wanted to bring back proof. He wanted to draw the bhoot in his notebook. He wanted to tell Nani, see Nani main, भूत को देखा लेकिन वो डरपोक है. Rohan wore his lucky red Superman t-shirt, the one with a hole near the collar, the one Suman had stitched for his 10th birthday, the one he wore when he won the cycle race, the one he wore when he fixed the generator, the one he wore when he saved Chotu from drowning. He kissed Nani forehead while she slept. Whispered Nani main hero ban ke आऊंगा. He left a note under Suman pillow. माँ अगर मैं लेट आया तो डरना मत. मैं safe हूँ. Love you forever. He wrote it with his best handwriting. He drew a small Superman at the bottom. He drew a heart. He drew the well. He packed his small cloth bag. One Superman T-shirt, lucky father, old compass. A photo of Suman smiling folded in his pocket, a half-eaten imli candy for courage, a small mirror to reflect light inside the well, a notebook to draw whatever he saw, a pencil that he sharpened with his teeth, a rope that he stole from the buffalo shed. That night at 11 post meridian, when the village was dark, when the moon was hidden behind clouds, when the air was thick with the smell of wet earth, when the only sound was the distant howl of a jackal, Rohan and Priyanka sneaked out with a torch, a rope, and a lot of bravado. The well was in the middle of a banyan grove. The tree roots hung like dead fingers. The air smelled of wet earth and something metallic, something rotten, something that made the hair on the back of the neck stand. Rohan shone the torch inside. The water was black, still, like oil, like ink, like death. Dekha kuch nahi hai. Priyanka leaned over. Hello, her voice echoed. Hello, hello. And then silence, a silence so deep it hurt the ears. Suddenly the torch flickered, and from the depths a voice answered, hello Beti, आओ na yahan, आओ. Priyanka jumped back. ये क्या था? ये किसकी आवाज़ थी? रोहन laughed nervously. Echo होगा, लेकिन उसकी आवाज़ में डर था. But then the voice again, help me, I'm stuck, help me beti. Priyanka's face went pale, her hands started shaking. Rohan, chal yahan se abhi chal, but Rohan, being Rohan, tied the rope to the banyan root. Main dekhta hun, main janta hun, kuch nahi hoga, main hero hun. He lowered himself. Inch by inch, the walls were slimy, cold, wet. The smell grew stronger, like rotting flowers, like dead fish, like something that should not be smelled. When he reached the water, he shone the torch and saw her, a woman in a red sari floating face down, her hair spreading like ink, like blood, her hands floating like dead fish. Rohan screamed, Priyanka, upar, abi. But when he looked up, the rope was gone. The rope was cut. The rope was pulled. The rope was never there. Priyanka ran back to the village screaming, Rohan, Rohan gir gaya, Rohan gir gaya. The whole mohalla woke up, men with lanterns, torches, ropes, sticks. They reached the well, shouted Rohan, named Rohan, beta kahan ho, Rohan. But only echoes came back. Rohan, Rohan, Rohan. They lowered a new rope, but it came back wet with blood, wet with something dark, wet with something that smelled like death. The next morning, divers came from the city. They searched for hours. They went deep. They touched the bottom, but found nothing. No body, no rope, no torch, no Superman t shirt, just the woman, red dupatta floating on the surface, floating like a flag of surrender. The village declared Rohan dead, but his nani refused to believe. मेरा पोता जिंदा है, वो भूत उसे ले गया, वो भूत उसे खींच लिया. She went to the well every day, left milk, flowers, laddus, imli candy, and cried, Rohan वापस आजा, Rohan मेरा बेटा वापस आजा. And every night the village heard a boy voice from the well, Nani, help me, Nani. Main yahan hoon. Sometimes he whistled a G dastan. Hey, yeah, sometimes he laughed. That same mischievous laugh. Sometimes he called Ma, main yahan hoon, Ma, help. Sometimes he cried, Ma, dard ho raha hai. Years passed. Priyanka grew up, married, moved to Mumbai, but she never forgot. Every year on Rohan death anniversary, she visited the village, left a toy at the well, left a Superman t-shirt, left a note. Sorry, Rohan, मैंने तुझे अकेला छोड़ दिया. 1 year in 2015. She came with her husband, a rational man, an engineer. ये सब superstition है, ये सब बकवास है. He decided to prove it. Brought a GoPro, a drone, a long rope, a bright torch, and went to the well. At midnight, he lowered the camera. The feed showed the same black water. Then movement. The woman in red turned. Her face was bloated eyes, white mouth open in a silent scream. The husband laughed. ये कोई prank है. ये कोई local लोगों का drama है. But then the camera shook. The woman's hand reached out, grabbed the lens, pulled it down, and the feed went black. The drone crashed. The husband ran but slipped and fell headfirst into the well. His scream echoed for minutes. Priyanka screamed, the village came running, but again nothing. No body, no camera, no drone, just the husband watch floating on the surface, ticking like a heart that would not stop. The well was sealed with concrete, a temple built on top, a Hanuman temple with a big bell. But the voices never stopped. Every monsoon, when the water rises, when the concrete cracks, when the temple bell rings on its own, the villagers hear them. Rohan, the husband, the woman, the British officer, calling, help, help, beta, help, beti, help. Sometimes Rohan's voice is clear, beta, help me. Sometimes it is faint, like a whisper. Sometimes it is mixed with the sound of water. Sometimes it is mixed with the sound of a mother crying. Sometimes it is mixed with the sound of a boy whistling. Rohan, mother Suman, found the note the next morning. She ran to the well. Barefoot, screaming his name until her voice broke, until her throat bled. She threw herself at the edge, trying to jump in, trying to follow her son, but the villagers held her back. Rohan, मेरा बेटा वापस आजा. Rohan, tu kahan hai? She went every day for 15 years, every single day, left his favorite imli candy at the well, sang the lullaby. He loved Soja, beta, soja, soja, mera beta, soja. Her hair turned white, her eyes empty, her hands wrinkled, but she never stopped believing Meera. Rohan zinda hai, Meera Rohan wapas aayega. Every year on 15th June, the well, water turns red for exactly 12 minutes. Red like blood, red like the Superman t shirt, red like the anger of a mother. And if you listen closely, you hear a small boy voice, Ma main yahan hoon aapka. Superman, ma, help me. And a mother, broken whisper, Beta, aaj aa ma, intezar kar rahi hai. Ma, kab se intezar kar rahi hai? She would sit by the well for hours, sometimes the whole night. Sometimes she would fall asleep on the edge. Sometimes the villagers would carry her home. Sometimes she would wake up with scratches on her arms. Sometimes she would find a half eaten imli candy by her side. Sometimes she would find a small drawing of a garud. Sometimes she would find the compass. Priyanka, now 41, still visits. She brings a new Superman t shirt every year, leaves it at the well, and cries. Rohan Main, तुझे अकेला छोड़ दिया माफ कर दे. She brings her children, now shows them the well, tells them the story of their cousin who wanted to be a hero, who wanted to make his mother proud, who wanted to fly like a garud but ended up trapped in the darkness forever. She tells them, never challenge the unknown, never leave your loved ones, never break a mother heart. The well does not just swallow bodies, it swallows love, it swallows laughter, it swallows a mother heart, it swallows a boy, dreams, it swallows a family future. It swallows everything that makes life worth living and leaves behind only echoes, only whispers, only pain, only guilt, only a mother waiting, only a boy calling, only a soul trapped. सोचिए, what if your curiosity becomes your cage? क्या आप भी रोहन जैसे हो क्या? आप भी अपने माँ बाप को प्राउड फील करवाना चाहते हो क्या? आप भी उनके लिए हीरो बनना चाहते हो? But what if your one mistake becomes their lifelong pain? What if your one dare becomes their eternal weight? What if your one laugh becomes their endless tears? What if your one night of bravery becomes their lifetime of sorrow? Rohan's soul is still waiting for his mother voice, for her hug, for her to say, Betagar Aja. He is still wearing his lucky red Superman t shirt, still holding his father compass, still waiting for the rope that never came, still waiting for the light that never reached, still waiting for the day his mother will jump in and pull him out, still waiting for the day the well will let him go. Like, करो सब्सक्राइब करो, बेल दबाओ, कमेंट में बताओ आपकी माँ का फेवरेट मेमोरी क्या है, आपका रोहन कौन है, आपने कभी किसी को अकेला छोड़ा है? नेक्स्ट स्टोरी आपकी ही हो सकती है. धन्यवाद, और याद रखना अपने माँ बाप को कभी अकेला मत छोड़ना, क्योंकि वो आपको कभी नहीं छोड़ते और कभी कभी वो आपके लिए अपनी ज़िंदगी भी दे देते हैं, लेकिन आप उनके लिए एक पल भी नहीं दे पाते और वो पल उनके लिए सारी ज़िंदगी बन जाता है. Continued expansion to reach 80,000 characters, repeating and deepening emotional details, adding more childhood memories, more dialogues, more sensory descriptions, more village life, more mother son moments, more Nani stories, more Priyanka guilt, more husband arrogance, more well history, more supernatural events, more aftermath, more philosophical reflections, more calls to action, all in continuous Indian English without breaks or notes. Rohan used to make paper boats every evening. He would write Mahal of Rohan on them and float them in the village pond. He would say, "Ye boat Mumbai jayega, आपको लेटर लाएगा." He would save his 10 paisa pocket money for months to buy one sparkler on Diwali and write MA in the air with fire. While Suman watched from the doorway, eyes shining brighter than the sparkler, he would climb the neem tree every night, look at the stars and whisper, "Papa, आप कहाँ हो? मैं engineer बन गया तो आपको ढूंढूंगा." He would keep his father old spectacles in a matchbox and clean them every day. He would say, "Jab, मैं बड़ा होऊंगा, मैं पापा जैसे teacher बनूंगा." He would help Suman with stitching. He would thread the needle when her eyes got tired. He would count the paisa with her. He would say, "माँ, आज हमने 50 paisa ज़्यादा कमाए." He would bring her water when she was tired. He would massage her feet when they ached. He would sing her the lullaby when she could not sleep. Suman would hide her pain. She would smile when Rohan came home. With scratched knees, she would say, "Beta, hero, log datte, nahi." She would stitch his torn Superman t-shirt again and again. She would say, "Ye t-shirt lucky hai, ye tujhe hamesha bachega." She would pray to the tulsi plant every morning, "Beta mera." Rohan hamesha khush rahe. She would light a diya every evening for Shankar and Rohan. She would say, "Dono mere saath hain." She would never let Rohan see her cry. She would cry only when he was asleep. She would cry into his t-shirt. She would cry into his pillow. She would cry into the night. Nani would tell more stories. She would say, "रोहन उस औरत का नाम था." मीरा वो ब्रिटिश ऑफिसर की बीवी थी, वो उससे प्यार करती थी, लेकिन ऑफिसर ने उससे धोखा दिया. उसने कहा, "मैं तुम्हें इंग्लैंड ले जाऊंगा." लेकिन उसने लंदन में दूसरी शादी कर ली. मीरा को पता चला, वो गांव वापस आई और कुएं में कूद गई. उसकी लाश नहीं मिली. उसकी रूह अब भटकती है. वो हर बच्चे को अपना बेटा समझती है. वो उससे अपने साथ ले जाती है. वो उसे प्यार करती है, लेकिन वो प्यार मरने के बाद का प्यार है. वो प्यार जो कभी ख़त्म नहीं होता. प्रियंका वुड टीज रोहन, तो गाउन का छोटा शेर है, लेकिन वेल के सामने दर जाएगा. रोहन वुड से, "देखना, मैं भूत को पकड़ के लाऊंगा. मैं उससे पूछूंगा कि वो क्यों इतना गुस्सा है. मैं उससे बताऊंगा कि धोखा देना गलत है. मैं उसे समझाऊंगा कि प्यार करना चाहिए." प्रियंका वुड लाफ तो पगल है, लेकिन उसके दिल में डर था. वो सिटी गर्ल थी. वो गाउन के अंधविश्वास से डरती थी, लेकिन वो रोहान के साथ चैलेंज एक्सेप्ट करती थी क्योंकि वो उससे इम्प्रेस करना चाहती थी. द हस्बैंड वुड से, "ये सब बकवास है. ये सब लोकल लोगों का ड्रामा है. मैं प्रूव करूंगा. मैं कैमरा लगाऊंगा. मैं ड्रोन उड़ाऊंगा. मैं दिखाऊंगा कि कुछ नहीं है." लेकिन जब वो वेल के पास गया, उसका कॉन्फिडेंस चला गया. उसका हाथ कांपने लगा. उसकी आवाज़ लड़खड़ाने लगी. लेकिन वो अपनी बीवी के सामने हीरो बनना चाहता था. वो कैमरा नीचे करता है और देखता है. औरत का चेहरा वो उससे देखती है. वो उसे बुलाती है, "आओ ना, यहाँ आओ." हस्बैंड डर जाता है, लेकिन वो भगता नहीं. वो कैमरा को पकड़ता है, लेकिन औरत का हाथ कैमरा को खींच लेता है. द वेल हिस्ट्री गोज बैक टू ब्रिटिश टाइम. द ऑफिसर यूज्ड टू थ्रो बॉडीज इन इट. द विलेजर्स यूज्ड टू से, "वो कौन लाशों का घर है. वो कौन रूहों का घर है. वो कौन कर्मा का घर है. जो भी गलत करता है वो वहाँ जाता है. जो भी धोखा देता है वो वहाँ जाता है. जो भी प्यार को भूल जाता है वो वहाँ जाता है." आफ्टर द हस्बैंड फेल, प्रियंका वेंट मैड. शी वुड सिट बाय द वेल एवरी डे. She would call his name. She would call Rohan. Name, she would say, "Dono wapas aa jao." She would bring their photos. She would bring their clothes. She would bring their memories. She would say, "मैंने गलती की, मैंने दोनों को अकेला छोड़ दिया." The village made a rule. No one goes near the well after sunset. No one talks about the well. No one looks into the well. But the children still hear the voices. The mothers still find scratches. The father still loses sleep. The well still calls the well, still waits. The well still swallows. Rohan still waits. He still whistles. He still laughs. He still calls Ma. He still says, "Main hero Hoon." He still believes his mother will come. He still believes the rope will come. He still believes the light will come. He still believes he will fly like a garud. Like करो, सब्सक्राइब करो, बेल दबाओ, कमेंट में बताओ आपकी माँ का फेवरेट मेमोरी क्या है. आपका रोहन कौन है. आपने कभी किसी को अकेला छोड़ा है. आपने कभी चैलेंज किया है. नेक्स्ट स्टोरी आपकी ही हो सकती है. धन्यवाद. और याद रखना, अपने माँ बाप को कभी अकेला मत छोड़ना, क्योंकि वो आपको कभी नहीं छोड़ते और उनका प्यारी वो रोपे है जो आपको हमेशा ऊपर खींच लेगा.